evening. Thank you for joining us for tonight's special honoring Black history. I'm Kirsten Joyce.
And I'm Christian Cáceres. Tonight, we're going to spend the next half hour highlighting Black community members who are making a difference in our city.
We'll also be joined by Bianca Holman with more coverage from the historic West Side District.
And we'll be profiling a new program encouraging local students to read. We'll also meet a teacher who's making sure all of his students feel seen and heard.
We start tonight with the healthcare heroes who have played a major role in the COVID-19 pandemic. Delicia Sullivan is a medical assistant for the UNLV School of Medicine. Her role to provide much care to patients as needed. Of course, that includes filling prescriptions, making sure everything is clean, and vaccinating people. Sullivan says being a medical assistant was something she wanted to become when her mother was diagnosed with lupus. Her biggest goal is to make sure every patient feels safe and comfortable.
Take care of each one as if they were your own. So I'm honored to do this. I'm actually just really honored to be able to mix the solution for the Pfizer or to inject a patient. It's just, to me, it's an honor. I see us getting back to a norm. It may not be the norm that we had before, but it will be a new norm that we can adjust to, and it's going to take some time, and to say the least, everybody has to play their part in it.
Sullivan's message: be aware of where you come from and who paved the way for you. Most importantly, don't give up on your dreams.
Well, pastors are helping keep the faith strong during such unprecedented times. Lucius Bowen III is a Victory Missionary Baptist Church pastor. He says the pandemic has been devastating for so many reasons, and not being able to congregate in church and worship adds to it. For families who are battling the virus or can't attend services, he implemented streaming them so people can still worship. He also tries to keep his community connected through Bible study, weekend worship services, Sunday school class, and his prayer conference call.
This pandemic is larger than anything that you've ever gone through, but God has taken you through things. And what I would encourage you to do is remember what he's done for you in the past. What we have to understand is the same God that created us created scientists and created doctors. And if they found a vaccine that could help prevent us from experiencing the pain and even death from COVID-19, I would encourage you to do so.
Bowen's message to the community: don't let the pandemic discourage you. He says, quote, "This too shall pass."
You don't see too many Black judges in Nevada courtrooms, but that is slowly starting to change. Orko Manna introduces us to two local African-American judges who have made history and explains how they are encouraging the next generation.
I think it's very important that the court represent this community.
Trailblazer, icon, judge, Tierra Jones balances tons of titles thanks to her historic position of power.
I became the first African-American woman to sit on the state court bench in the state of Nevada.
That happened in 2017. Jones tells me her diversity brings a different perspective to the courtroom, something extremely essential as African Americans continue to be disproportionately incarcerated.
And one of the reasons I wanted to be a judge is to make a difference. It's my job to follow the law, but there's also always different life experiences and different things that are a part of your culture, that are a part of your background, that you bring to your everyday decisions.
There are 58 judges in Nevada's 8th Judicial District Court, which serves Clark County. Jones is one of 5 African Americans currently on that bench. Some were just elected in 2020.
I officially started on January 4th.
Dee Butler is the first African American judge in Clark County District Court's Family Division.
It is nice to be the first, but hopefully not the last.
She says growing up, she never saw judges that looked like her, but witnessing Tierra Jones first as a public defender, then as a judge, inspired her campaign.
When you're talking about mentors, just life mentors, attorney mentors, and then now a judge mentor, she is a key person that I look up to.
Jones also does a lot of work with the Valley's youth and says she sees it as a responsibility.
I think it's super important that I pave the way for those who come after me.
But she knows the road to representation is a marathon, not a sprint, and blazing a trail takes time.
So I think we are definitely making progress, but there's definitely still work that needs to be done.
Orko Manna, 8 News Now.
Judge Jones' various mentorship roles range from speaking to kids at Valley schools to providing professional advice to current law students. She says it's all about showing everyone, especially Black girls, that a career in law is possible.
Well, still to come on Honoring Black History, the effort from a local family to educate the younger generation on the rich culture.
I'm Bianca Holman, and ahead I'll explain the significance this part of the valley has on Las Vegas. Thanks for staying with us for this 8 News Now special honoring Black history. I'm 8 News Now anchor Bianca Holman, and I'm here in Las Vegas's historic West Side. Now, this neighborhood is rich in African-American history. It's home to the historic Berkeley Square, the first Nevada subdivision designed for the Black community. And it housed the Moulin Rouge, the first integrated casino. Now, 2 new monuments are on display, calling attention to the neighborhood's prominence. The rich culture that took place on the West Side has never been forgotten. Now, new signs are up, created by artist Harold Ford. This is just one way the city hopes to revitalize the area.
There's a sense of pride that we all have. We love telling people that I'm from the West Side. We wear it on our shoulder, and this will just reiterate the fact that when they say that, people will know where the historic West Side is.
The sign on the north side of the US 95 off-ramp is not completely finished yet, but will have a 4-foot wide walking path allowing people to come up and take pictures. Also in this neighborhood, the historic West Side School. It's a 2-room schoolhouse built in 1923 with 2 more rooms added in 1928. It first served as a school for local Paiute children, but as the area grew with big construction projects such as what would become Nellis Air Force Base and Hoover Dam, it became a school to almost exclusively African-American students. During segregation, the historic West Side was the only place where African-Americans could live, attend school, or own a business in the valley. Speaking of history, Black soldiers have played a major role in our United States Armed Forces since the 1700s and the Revolutionary War all the way to present day. Now, while Black service members are visible, they're still climbing the ranks into lead roles. During the pandemic, our United States Air Force Thunderbirds flew across our skies to honor frontline workers.
The energy is always high. Folks are excited. Kids are screaming and yelling and jumping up and down with excitement.
As America's ambassadors in blue, they've got a secret weapon that keeps them running smoothly. Captain Rimosha Nelson.
This is something that I've always wanted to be a part of. I was just kind of like blown away and speechless, but also like very excited for the opportunity to be a part of this team.
Nelson, a Howard University graduate, has lived across the world, Korea, Germany, Turkey, and now Nellis Air Force Base. Coming from modest beginnings, it was her stepfather's stories of his time in the Navy that left an impression.
I am so thankful because he really taught me the importance of serving others.
Nelson is the Thunderbird's first Black female officer.
When I found out, I was extremely humbled.
She's the team's public affairs officer. Her role is selective. Nelson is the 12th person to have the position since the team started in 1953.
She leads an incredible team, and as a leader of that team, they're the first people to interface with the public.
Black soldiers have played a major role in armed forces, from the Buffalo Soldiers to Tuskegee Airmen, to the Air Force Chief of Staff, General Charles Brown.
So for young Black girls to be able to see themselves in me, for them to get an opportunity to see what's possible is an absolute honor.
When we can inspire folks to do that because they can relate to us, that's very effective. And we can only do that when we display diversity.
And her vision for the future?
I hope that we continue to grow as a force and to be a reflection of the people that we actually serve.
Now, earlier we mentioned the Moulin Rouge and Berkeley Square, and you may be surprised to find out that the most tangible pieces of that history are in the Neon Boneyard Museum. Berkeley Square was designed by pioneering architect Paul Williams. Williams also designed the La Concha Motel, and the sign now sits in the Boneyard. You'll also find the sign for the Moulin Rouge, along with some of the original neon that still works. Stay with us. We've got more ahead, including a chance to meet one of CCSD's most valuable teachers.
The goal for me as an instructor is always to empower students and ensure that they have they don't see any limits to the creativity they can bring to their lives.
We'll meet Mr. Lang and learn what it is he does that helps his students realize their full potential. And the family of a former educator realizes there's still a lot of work to be done when it comes to reading level equality, and they're working hard to close the gap. Stay with us.
Like a mirror staring back at you and really saw yourself. Same hair, same skin, same dreams.
One Clark County School District teacher is making sure students self-reflect. He wants them to realize their point of view, opinions, and story matter.
That's right. Well, 8 News Now reporter Sally Jaramillo spoke to him and tells us more. She tells us more about his initiative in empowering students' lives.
Being someone who was pretty tech forward before this, I think definitely lessened the complication of having to do distance learning.
Michael Lang has been a CCSD technology instructor for 17 years. He is guiding his students at Laura Deering Elementary to change the world.
The goal for me as an instructor is always to empower students and ensure that they have they don't see any limits to the creativity they can bring to their lives. One of the reasons why I was always drawn to Apple products is the ease in which one can integrate those products into your classroom and allow students to really dream big.
In 2020, Lang, along with 5th grade students, looked at the world and focused on what was valuable to them. In a 2.5-minute video, students voiced their opinions, then Apple picked it up.
Having people look at my students as role models, as people that can do things. And I think that was very empowering, not only to those 5th grade students, but also as an instructor to say, okay, cool. I perhaps am on the right path to get these students doing what we need them to do.
Lang says this fueled him to think bigger this school year and reached out to all grades.
I hate the idea that we can only talk about, the Martin Luther Kings and the Cesar Chavez's and the Dolores Huertas and stuff during those months. There's an importance that life should give you, and that's an importance you should live with that power every day.
The first part of Lang's project is designed to show students they are valuable by using the children's book, You Matter, by Christian Robinson. Students will also use iPad to capture and edit images of themselves, family, neighbors, and craft why they matter, using the PBS Kids Scratch junior coding app on iPad.
We kind of came out of the idea that a lot of what we do in school is look at this other person as this role model, as this superhero, as whatever. And again, this really imbuing this sense of self-confidence, this sense of self-esteem.
Lang wants his students to know they are important and deserve an opportunity to show who they are through self-portraits. They will also look at some very important people who have paved the way.
Where we are now wasn't where we always were.
Finally, in the I'm a Dreamer 2 segment, Lang will ask them how they can be of service to each other. He wants his students to understand the story of Las Vegas. The story of Nevada is bigger than the things we see on a regular basis.
We're not a perfect community, but we're a community that is going through the process of being perfected.
Sally Jaramillo, reporting in Las Vegas.
Well, students will complete interactive workbooks and keynote for each part of the project. They will then compile their thoughts into a collaborative book of their ideas in which they will have the opportunity to share with the community organizers and legislators.
How fantastic. Wow. Well, as we know, small business owners have been hit hard by the pandemic. Felicia Parkers is a Black business owner. She is the co-founder of Occasion Baskets. While striving to keep her business going, she is also giving back to the community. Parker says her biggest inspiration is former First Lady Michelle Obama. She says her goal is to bring joy to others through her personalized baskets. Moved by frontline workers, she's shown her gratitude by giving out more than 100 baskets to 7 hospital ERs. And her giving doesn't stop there.
We give back every year. We have a give back initiative, a give back program that we work on every year. And so what we try to do is give to organizations, again, that touch our hearts. Personally, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and I'm a minority. So a lot of those hit very close to home for me.
Some of those organizations include the school district, Project 150, Hope for Prisoners, and the Women's Resource Center.
Well, a Las Vegas family has launched an effort to get young children into reading. It's all themed for Black History Month and read by local people of color about civil rights, love, and diversity.
Long before you took your place in this world, you were dreamed of.
It's a line from the book, All Because You Matter, that barbershop owner Gerard Esler is reading to children online.
I have 2 little kids myself, a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I believe it's really important just to read to them every night.
This is one of 25 special books written by someone of color and tells a story about a Black or brown person.
And you hear pop-ups, whispers.
It's part of a virtual reading series for Black History Month called We See You, which was launched by the Parker family and their organization Sayubana Culture. It included themes like civil rights, love, and activism.
This project is extremely intentional in the way that we wanted the kids that were viewing these videos to also turn on the YouTube video and to see people who look like them reading, who have had an array of careers.
We had a vision of a book sharing initiative.
Tresha Parker, a former teacher, and her husband got the idea after spotting an outdoor library in LA and wanted to get more children interested in reading.
82% of African American children were reading below proficient level. 77% of Latinx students were reading below proficient level.
One day you'll be big enough to reach it yourself.
The couple decided to do a daily book read online by authors of color and read by Las Vegas residents, also of color, that children could look up to. Among the group, teachers, business owners, and other Black professionals like C.J. Hayes.
It's perfectly fine to ask for help.
So to see people of color in books and show that to my daughter at a young age, it's going to really give her that confidence as she grows. And that's why I think this is important.
The books are targeting young children and each clip is free. The production, according to the Parkers, is built on love and hope to get more kids of color interested in the rich culture.
Well, new book reads are posted during the week. You can go online and have one of 25 books read free of charge. Visit 8newsnow.com for the link.
Ahead on Honoring Black History, who doesn't love a home-cooked meal? We talked to Grits Cafe about how owners felt the need to keep the soul alive during the pandemic.
We all know food is comfort, and during these times, we all need a little bit of it.
Local business Grits Cafe says it will continue to feed the community's soul through these times. Sally Jaramillo with the story.
Grits Cafe is a community-based restaurant. We've been in business now for 14 years.
Grits Cafe says it's the Ritz for the grits. Located near Martin Luther King and Lake Mead Boulevard, it offers Southern familiarity to diners.
We're all about economic empowerment. So when I first originally opened Grits Cafe, my idea was to have a cafe where people would come and do business and they would feel like they were at home in their mother's kitchen.
Trina Giles owns Grits Cafe. While trying to stay afloat and adapt to changes during the pandemic, she also continues to give back to the community, including first responders.
I believe that it's important to make sure that we provide, since we're being blessed with our loyal customer base, that we really do provide some assistance to youth organizations that's trying to make an impact on our youth and bring them up in a better life.
Despite closures and capacity reductions, she strives to bring loyal customers quality cuisine.
Our number one seller is our chicken and waffles. So Southern fried chicken, you can accompany it with grits, and our grits you can top any way you'd like.
From home-style potatoes to chicken fried steak, catfish, biscuits, and gravy, you can find everything that brings you that Southern comfort.
Food, it can fix a lot of things when the food is good.
That's why she's feeding the Valley one grits bowl at a time. Her overall message?
To keep the faith, stay positive. There are a lot of opportunities out there.
She encourages everyone to think outside the box, keep growing, and most importantly, create more jobs and opportunities for the people in our community.
I believe that all that I am, I owe to someone else who came before me.
Sally Jaramillo, 8 News Now.
That finishes our Hidden History special right here on Channel 8.
For more stories on Black history and the impact from major figures, go to 8newsnow.com. Thank you for joining us.